Well, this was Trump's first response, right, is the Pope is a very political person. And the Pope responded, well, at least he thinks I'm a human person. I think the Pope's is good at sending out grenades on these papal plane interviews, which are not authoritative teaching. They're just the Pope riffing off events and answering questions. The question about that he was asked was not a question which was asked in a way that would make the Pope say, Mr. Trump is not a Christian. The question was asked in a way in which the Pope said, look, as you say, the walls and the bridges are metaphors for inclusion and exclusion.
Right.
And those are getting at principles. What are the principles? Well, the Christian principles are about loving your neighbor. So tell us how, if you're a Christian, Mr. Trump, how do Christian principles guide you? I think that's a legitimate question that no one has asked. All the GOP candidates are very explicit about their Christian faith, and they're explicit on the campaign trail about how biblical principles will guide them. Mr. Trump says he's a Christian. Tell us how the biblical principles guide him.
Well, it's so interesting, Chad, for a candidate and a politician who we normally see storming up to the podium with no notes, speaking extemporaneously. And in his response to the Pope, he was very clearly reading something that was carefully prepared. And I know that your expertise is in the Catholic Church, not the current 2016 GOP field, but I'm wondering if you think there's any legitimacy to what Trump responded to the Pope.
Well, I mean, we saw different responses. I mean, we saw the initial response where the Pope said it's disgraceful for the Pope to question anybody's faith, but you know, especially the Pope who says, who am I to judge? And here he is making a judgment. You'd think that the Vicar of Christ and the successor of the apostles actually can make judgments. And he's making a judgment not about Mr. Trump, but about actions. And we did see a very carefully scripted statement that he gave on wanting to support Christianity. But we know almost nothing about his faith. He says that he's Presbyterian. Does he know the difference between Presbyterians and Methodists and Catholics? He talks about the Eucharist as a little wine and a bit of cracker. He doesn't know how Christians speak about the Bible. He says 2 Corinthians instead of 2 Corinthians. It's legitimate for us to ask, you know, what sort of Christian is he? And he actually doesn't gain the trust of most conservative Christians in America when you survey them on his faith. Pew did a survey in January which showed that it's actually white Protestant liberals who are very comfortable with his faith. Conservatives are not comfortable with his faith. They're not convinced at all that he's a genuine person of Christian faith. And so it seems to me legitimate that when this becomes an issue, when faith in public life becomes an issue, we should be able to ask that question.
Hey YouTube fans, I'm Landon Downey from CNBC. Thanks so much for checking out our channel. Here you'll find videos packed with all the info that you need to be smarter about your finances. Be sure and subscribe by clicking right here and click on all the videos around me to see CNBC's original series Young Money, Tech Bet, Kramer's Mad Money, and all the latest from CNBC.